What do you mean you would call someone to confirm an appointment instead of sending a text message or a WhatsApp message? Or are you telling me that someone from IKEA would leave you a voicemail telling you that your stuff is ready for pickup? Well, I guess welcome to Canada. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Fabi, and on this channel I share stories and lessons from my nonlinear life journey to help you embrace your own journey and feel less alone in the process. In today's video, I want to talk about 5 things that surprised me when I first moved to Canada. Number 1, moving to a new province feels like moving to a new country. If you've watched some of my other videos, you might know that I used to live in Alberta for 2 years, and after 2 years I decided to move to BC. When I first prepped for the move and did my research, I was perplexed to basically find out that I would have to do all the administrative tasks from scratch, such as applying for a new driving license, or changing my license plate, or applying for a new car insurance because each province has their own car insurance companies, or even just getting a new provincial health card because the universal healthcare in Canada is sort of ruled by the province, or it's a provincial healthcare. And all these changes are pretty time consuming, I will say, and they can be pretty costly as well. Number 2 is buying secondhand items is super common. I don't know why. Is it maybe because people come and go all the time, or is it because a lot of people are just trying to be more financially responsible? But buying secondhand items in Canada for literally almost everything is a common practice, and I think it is a great option if you want to grab something that's still high functioning or still well functioning without paying a full price, especially for students. And this is something that surprised me at first because you can literally buy almost everything on Marketplace, and people literally do transactions over things that are ranging from small to large, starting from backpack, winter jackets, hiking shoes, tent, standing lamp, you name it, all the way until like monitor or secondhand desk or secondhand chairs. And on the flip side, in where I used to live in Jakarta or Singapore, people don't really buy secondhand items. The secondhand market is catered more towards people who want to get rare items or collectible items such as film camera or sneakers or anything that is already really hard to find in the market. Or maybe the most common thing they would go to secondhand market for is gadget, because they can get a newer gadget with cheaper price. But I think there's definitely a difference in terms of how people treat secondhand market and also just the perception around it, which I found pretty fascinating at first. And if you are new to Canada or you're looking to move here, I'll say Facebook Marketplace is one of the best marketplaces that you could use in Canada. It is definitely thriving here. I think there's a lot of great options that you can find on Facebook Marketplace, and some people also give away their stuff for free when they move away and they have all the bulky furniture. They sometimes would give it away for free because it's easier, or it's quote-unquote cheaper, rather than paying for a service to get rid of those bulky items. Number 3 is voicemail and text are still a thing. Back in where I used to live, no one uses a voicemail. Literally no one. And people don't even call each other on the phone. Like, it's not a thing. However, when I first moved here to Canada, I was surprised to learn that people do phone each other. And if you call someone and they don't pick up, you will then leave a voicemail, which is definitely a cultural thing that surprised me at first. And this goes for almost anything, not only for personal relationships, but even for other types of appointments, such as doctor's appointment, or your nearest IKEA calling you to tell you that your stuff is ready for pickup, or maybe like your local grocery store calling you, telling you that, hey, like the item that you were looking for and asked for a rate check for is now available. Like, even small things like that, people would give you a call, and if you don't pick up, they will leave you a voicemail. Whereas in Jakarta and Singapore, or just back in Southeast Asia where I used to live, most people use WhatsApp. They use WhatsApp for almost anything. Even sometimes I feel like WhatsApp is kind of overused in Asia in general. And I know that every country, I think they sort of have their own go-to app. For example, I know for Thailand, they use Line a lot. I think in Japan also they use Line. I don't know if they have like a newer app. And then in in Korea, KakaoTalk is like their go-to app. So I think every country does have their own go-to app. However, it's an app which uses mobile data. When I first moved here, people use text messages and phone calls. And I do think that after living here for a while and after observing how the country operates, I think it's because mobile data here is pretty expensive as compared to the countries that I used to live in or other countries that I'm familiar with. Whereas when you get a data plan or you get a mobile plan here in Canada, it comes with at least 100 minutes of talk time and most of the time unlimited text. So I think that is maybe why people kind of opt for text and calls and eventually voicemail as compared to using any apps or platforms that require mobile data. Number 4 is people change their phone number when they move to a new province. This actually surprised me initially because I didn't know that this was actually a thing. Because in Canada, your first 3 digits of your phone number, that kind of determines your area code. So people can actually guess roughly where you're from, whether you're local or not, just based on your phone number. And sometimes people will give you like that look when they see your phone number. It's not a local phone number. Maybe when you go to a clinic, or maybe when you even just put down your name for a waiting list at a restaurant, and they'll kind of give you that look and be like, okay, you're not local. For me personally, I still use my phone number that I got in Alberta because I am just too lazy to change it. I've definitely experienced some reactions to like my phone number, or my Alberta phone number rather. So I'm really curious to understand the reasons behind this. So if you're Canadian, or if you also live in Canada and kind of know what drives this practice or culture, like let me know what you think, because I'm really curious to know like why people do that. And is it because of societal pressure, or are there any reasons why people prefer to have local phone number? Number 5 is the returns and exchange culture. I mean, I used to live in Asia and also traveled a lot, so I kind of know that the returns and exchange culture here in North America is pretty rampant. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this. I think it's pretty normal when you buy something, you shop for clothes or bags or shoes and you change your mind. And I think it's great to have that flexibility, but that's not what I'm talking about here. The thing that I want to talk about is how shocked I was to learn that you can actually return like perishables. So I've seen people returning like a bag of apples that was half eaten because they ate half of it because the rest has gone bad, or it just didn't turn out as what the customer expected, and you can literally go back to the grocery store and return it. I don't know if that's actually the norm, but I've seen quite a lot of people do that, and I've also seen long lines at the grocery store, especially Costco here, where people just return their items that they out because of the flexible return policy, and that ranges from like perishables like I mentioned, or sometimes people would also, I think unfortunately, abuse the system because of how lenient the return policy is. For example, in the summer when the weather gets hot, people would maybe need a fan or an AC, and people would buy the AC and use it for the summer, and then just before the return deadline they would go back and return the item. But I know that a lot of retail stores have gotten pretty smart to find a workaround, and I think they have like stricter policies when it comes to seasonal items. For example, like when you get a barbecue pit that you want to use for the summer, like you can't return it, or maybe like a camping tent or a sleeping bag, things like that. Okay friends, that is all I have for today. I think it's a pretty short and sweet one. Is there anything you'd like to add? Please feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, because I'd love to hear about your experience or what you think about the things that I've shared, or if you want to add your thoughts and your 2 cents as well, leave it in the comment section down below and I'll be sure to read them. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.